Perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you. Can I get a round of applause for Will? That's fantastic, buddy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So one of the things that's fun for me about being here tonight, as Gary mentioned, I am from St. Louis. It's always good to do these things in St. Louis. And I have some wonderful people who shaped my life, who I see right here in the front row. Pat Corge, my second grade teacher, is here with me tonight. So please help me to welcome Pat. Came. And I know that if this book can have the kind of effect on just one person's life that Pat and my other teachers had on me, this will be a very successful book. So thank you very much for being out here tonight. I appreciate it. And I'm going to begin the book reading right from the very beginning of the book, where I ask young people to imagine themselves in the Navy SEAL training. And this is how it starts. You stand in freezing water up to your chest. Every muscle in your body throbs with pain. You're exhausted beyond anything you could ever imagine, and all around you the night air carries the curses and groans of others who are gutting it out like you, who are trying to survive the night. Most won't. You know the statistics. Maybe 1 in 10 will make it through this week, will survive hours, days of the punishment required to become a Navy SEAL. The water is dark around you, but you can make out lights on the beach. You remember your instructor's words as the sun drifted toward the horizon, their voices booming over the bullhorns. Say goodnight to the sun. Tonight is going to be a very, very long night. You imagine another 100 hours of this. You see yourself plunging over and over into the icy water, pulling yourself out again. You imagine endless repetitions of sit-ups, flutter kicks, push-ups. Surf torture, they call it, when they leave you in freezing water. Not just for a few minutes, but for 5 more days. 5 days of struggle and uncertainty. 5 days of physical and emotional torment made to separate the iron-willed from the merely strong. In the distance, a bell sounds 3 times, and then another 3 times. As you hear the bell, you know that another student has chosen to quit. A voice rises and falls, taunting you, inviting you to do the same. Quit now and you can avoid the rush later, it says. One by one, sometimes in clusters, other students surrender. All around you, they climb up out of the ocean, walk up the sand hill, and they ring the bell. For them, it is the end. The others in your crew struggle along with you, and it's their companionship and their strength that buoys you. You are there for one another. You are a team, and you do not want to quit on your team. But you are bone-tired and shivering. You're afraid you'll never make it through the night, let alone an entire week. On shore stands a brightly lit tent. Others are gathered inside, their palms cupping mugs of warm coffee. They are wrapped in blankets. They are warm. You could be one of them. All you have to do is rise out of the icy water and walk toward the tent. It's easy. Students have been doing it all night. Just get up, get out, walk toward the bell, and quit. Then you could be warm and dry like the others. Then your stomach could be full, and you could feel your fingers and toes again. All you have to do is get up, get out, and ring the bell. What do you do? Now, this was just one of the tough choices that we had to make when we were in the Navy SEAL training. And in the Navy SEAL teams, one of the things that we talk about when you have to make tough choices is we talk about having to make tough choices on the front line. And in the military, when we talk about the front line, we talk about the front line as the place where you come in contact with the enemy. The front line is the place where you are most challenged. And yet, the fact is that every person, and every young person also has in their life, they have a front line. And for young people, that front line is the place where they're challenged. That front line is a place where they come up against fear, where they come up against hardship, where they come up against difficulty. And on the front lines, it's important for young people to find ways to navigate those challenges successfully. And what I know is that if they make the right kinds of choices on the front line, that all of them have an opportunity to create themselves. That we create ourselves on the front line, because on the front line is the place where we can grow. And if we make the right choices on the front line, we all have an opportunity to become people of compassion. We all have an opportunity to become people of courage. And we also all have an opportunity, if we make the right choices on the front line, we all have an opportunity to develop our gifts, to develop our strengths, to develop our abilities, so that we can find a way to be of service to the people around us. And if you think about how you make those decisions, one of the things that we do in the Navy SEAL teams is that we have an analogy about how you make tough choices in your life on the front line. And we talk about how you use a compass. What we know is that if you take a compass and you point it in a particular direction, that you can walk all day. And you might walk over mountains, you can walk through a forest, you can walk through a desert. And what happens is, at the end of the day, you end up in one very particular place. We also know that if at the beginning of that journey, you make a decision that you're going to make a change of course, and you might make a change of course of just 1 or 2 degrees in your life, but you decide that you're going to make a change of course of 1 or 2 degrees, and then you start to walk that new path. And you can walk it over mountains, you can walk it through a forest, you can walk it through a desert. What happens is, at the end of the day, is that you end up in a completely different place. And we know, for the young men and women who we're working with today, and for those who are going to read the Warrior's Heart, what I know is that for them, they're at a place where they're facing a front line in their life. They're at a place where they're challenged, and they should be at that place where there's hardships and there's difficulties, and they have to act with courage. And I've written the Warrior's Heart so that at this place on their life, they can think about how they make choices in their life, so that over time they can make choices so that they can create themselves, so that they can become people of compassion. They can make choices that allow them to develop courage in their lives. And so also they can make choices so that they all get to a place where they can figure out how they can use their own abilities, develop their own talents, develop their own strengths, so that they can be of service to the people around them. Now, in our lives, none of this happens on our own. As I mentioned, not only is Pat here, but in the book, I dedicate this book to my teachers, the teachers who I had at McKelvey Elementary School, at Parkway East Junior High, and at Parkway North High School, who all shaped my life. And what I know for sure is that in our lives, we all have to have the right kinds of teachers and role models. And in The Warrior's Heart, I've tried to put in lots of stories about teachers and role models who can help young people think about how we make these tough decisions on our own front lines. And one of the people who shaped my life, who I write about in The Warrior's Heart, was one of my mentors. There's a guy named Bruce Carl, who ran a program called Youth Leadership St. Louis. And when I was 16 years old, Bruce Carl once invited me to go down to work at a homeless shelter in downtown St. Louis. Now, as a kid, I'd done a lot of community service work before, and I'd actually been down, I'd done some things at a homeless shelter. But what Bruce said to me was, he said, not only are you going to go down to the homeless shelter, he said, I'm going to take you and I'm going to take other students down, and what I'm going to ask you to do is to actually spend the night there. He said, I want you to spend the night in the homeless shelter. And what Bruce said that was really powerful is he said, it's important for you to understand how all of your neighbors are living. He said, it's important for you to understand how all of your neighbors are living. And one of the things that I've tried to do in The Warrior's Heart is that I've asked kids to step into the shoes of Rwandan refugee children, to step into the shoes of children of the street in Bolivia, to step into the shoes of Navy SEALs, to think about the kinds of choices that they would make so that they can exercise their moral imagination and think about the world. Now, one of the other things that Bruce did that was really powerful for me was that Bruce also said to me, he said, it's important for you to understand how your neighbors are living because you can do something about it. What was so nice is Bruce didn't say, you can do something about this after you've graduated from high school. He didn't say you can do something about this after you've graduated from college. He didn't say you can do something about this after you turn 30. The message that Bruce gave to me at the time was that you can do something about it right now. And part of the message that I want to give the kids in The Warrior's Heart is also that they have the ability right now to make a difference in their schools. They have the ability right now to make a difference in their communities. And they have an ability right now to use their strengths and talents to make a difference in the world. And I know from the experience that I had doing international